Welcome to The Explainer. So today we're tackling what's arguably the single most frustrating bottleneck in modern digital finance. I mean, if you've spent literally any time building or transacting in Web3, you already know the headache. We've got this massive friction between two completely different worlds. On one side, there's the lightning-fast, frictionless speed of decentralized finance. And on the flip side, the heavy, incredibly strict, but absolutely essential world of traditional finance compliance. For years, platforms have been stuck playing this game of tug-of-war, having to choose between a fast user experience or a legally compliant one. But what if you just didn't have to choose? Today, we're exploring a literal game changer that solves this exact problem, the GitDigital hybrid checkout. Seriously, I want you to really think about this for a second. What if your checkout merged Solana's blazing sub-second speed with the rigorous, airtight safety of a traditional bank? For the Web3 developers and fintech architects tuning in right now, I know, that sounds like the holy grail, right? We're talking about completely eliminating those clunky redirects, the confusing gas fee calculations, and, let's face it, the terrifying legal blind spots of standard crypto payments. Just imagine an infrastructure where you can move capital at the speed of light on a blockchain while simultaneously running bank-grade compliance checks entirely in the background. So the crucial point is that the standard checkout page is evolving into something entirely new. It's becoming what we call a compliance gateway. Basically, this is a checkout powered by SDK transfer hooks that handles all the heavy lifting. It seamlessly merges that high-end fintech speed we love with absolute bank-level safety. Think of it like a brilliant automated bouncer, an intelligent gateway that actively interrogates every single transaction, making sure it meets all specific criteria before a single digital asset even thinks about changing hands. Here is exactly how we're going to break this down today. First, we'll look at the new compliance gateway. Second, the fast retail public flow. Third, the secure institutional private vault. Fourth, shared trust and features. And finally, number 5, the invisible hybrid logic. Okay, let's dive into this first one. Section 1, the new compliance gateway. The absolute magic of this whole system comes down to one thing: transfer hooks within the GitDigital SDK. Now, in the past, smart contracts were, well, pretty rigid, right? You sent a token, it arrived, and then maybe, just maybe, some totally disconnected system handled the compliance paperwork later. But transfer hooks, they completely flip the script. They allow the smart contract to essentially hit pause on a transaction mid-flight. During that pause, it runs a complex set of customized dynamic checks, things like verifying identity, checking geographic restrictions, or confirming investor accreditation. And it only allows the transfer to actually execute if all those conditions are met perfectly. This heavy lifting totally transforms a standard, boring e-commerce checkout into this dynamic, high-end fintech experience. Honestly, it saves everyone from those endless, painful PDF email chains. It creates a dual-path user experience that satisfies both the craving for speed and the strict, non-negotiable demands of international law.
Moving right along to Section 2, fast retail, also known as the public flow.
This flow is all about one thing: maximizing conversion and speed. It literally needs to feel as smooth as double-clicking for Apple Pay. Right out of the gate, users see a Verified by GitDigital badge, which instantly establishes trust. But the real powerhouse feature here is the one-tap KYC. If a user's wallet is already registered in the SDK, they get to completely skip those agonizing long forms and jump straight to the payment. Boom, done. There's also a super clear 3-step compliance progress bar to keep them in the loop: wallet link, light KYC, mint token. Meanwhile, and this is so cool, a dynamic eligibility check is using a transfer hook to ping the user's location in real time. If they happen to be in a restricted region, the buy button instantly turns gray and pops up a tooltip explaining the local regulations. But wait, my absolute favorite part: the gasless USDC option. Because all this is running on Solana, the platform can actually cover the network gas fee for the user. It makes a complex blockchain transaction feel exactly like a frictionless, everyday Web 2 purchase. Incredible, right? So, you can really see the stark contrast between our two main user types here. On the retail side, it's all about that one-tap KYC. It is lightning fast, highly optimized, and prioritizes a totally frictionless path to payment. But on the flip side, institutional investors, well, they don't necessarily want lightning fast. They want legally airtight. They require a dense, comprehensive, pre-flight compliance report. They literally need to see that every single regulatory box has been meticulously checked before they even think about moving major capital. And that brings us perfectly to our second path, which is Section 3, secure institutional, or the private vaults. Now, this institutional experience feels entirely different from the snappy retail flow we just looked at. It's incredibly dense with data, and it provides what you might call security theater, but, with actual cryptographic teeth. It has to feel exclusive, secure, and completely impenetrable. Step 1 is a rigorous wallet sanction and accreditation check. It verifies jurisdiction on the spot, like making sure the entity is legally based in Luxembourg, for example, before it allows anything else to happen. Step 2 completely rips out the standard buy button and replaces it with an initiate transaction button. Why the change? Because as we know, institutional capital relies on multi-signature approvals. This step sends a request directly to the institution's multi-sig setup, think something like Squad's protocol, demanding that final CFO approval. And finally, step 3 triggers a legal DocuSign overlay. The investor literally has to digitally sign the private placement memorandum, the PPM, right there inside the interface. Only after those critical legal signatures are securely captured does the SDK actually unlock the token minting function for that specific wallet. It's thorough, to say the least. And for these big institutions, the technical reassurances have to go even deeper than just signatures. That's why there's a transfer hook preview available right in the private vault. It gives them a transparent, technical breakdown showing exactly how the permanent delegate works. Because, let's be honest, in the traditional Web3 world, losing your private keys usually means losing your assets forever. Poof, gone. And obviously that is a complete non-starter for a hedge fund or a major bank. By showing how the permanent delegate function is hard-coded directly into the transfer hook, institutions get mathematical reassurance. They know for an absolute fact that in a worst-case scenario, their highly regulated assets can be safely, legally recovered and reissued. All right, Section 4, Shared Trust and Features. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is, despite the massive differences we just saw in those checkout flows, both retail and institutional users actually share the exact same core requirements. They need transparency, they need real-time data, and they absolutely need trust. We like to call these shared elements the GitDigital signature. For instance, both flows include a real-time tax estimate toggle that automatically calculates potential withholding based on the user's fully verified residency. Both also feature an asset provenance card. Now, this is a massive deal for real-world assets, or RWAs, because it provides a simple Verify on Solana link. Click it, and it instantly displays the underlying metadata. We're talking legal deeds, proof of reserves, the whole shebang. On top of that, both flows give you an interactive yield calculator slider to project future returns. And finally, both proudly display a trust badge that links directly to the open-source GitHub repository, because at the end of the day, anyone should be able to audit the code. Trust is universal, no matter who's buying. Let's move to Section 5 and see how this builds together behind the scenes. The invisible hybrid logic. So here is the secret sauce, the invisible hybrid logic running the show. When a user lands on checkout.digital.io, they aren't forced to manually select if they're a massive institution or just a retail buyer. The front end just handles it. It kicks off Step 1, an immediate wallet check that happens in milliseconds. Based on what it reads there, the routing is entirely automatic. Step 2, if the wallet carries a high net worth or institutional label, boom, it seamlessly redirects them into the deep analytics and heavy legal docs of the private vault. Step 3, if it reads a retail label, it keeps them right there on the public flow for that fast Apple Pay style experience. And Step 4, if the wallet is totally unrecognized, it immediately triggers the SDK's onboarding hook to securely collect the necessary KYC information before it even reveals the asset price. It is completely frictionless, perfectly chronological, and honestly, incredibly smart. And I think this whole system just brilliantly illustrates the massive paradigm shift we're witnessing right now. We are way past the days of just connecting wallets to websites. We are now literally embedding complex legal and compliance frameworks directly into the code that moves the money. It's a real game changer. So I want to leave you with this final thought to ponder. As this technology continues to mature, how will transfer hooks fundamentally rewrite the rules of e-commerce and compliance next? Because if we can fully automate bank-grade security at Solana speeds today, the infrastructure of tomorrow is going to be truly, absolutely extraordinary. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and as always, keep building.